You pour it without thinking. The same box you've bought for years, the same cheerful mascot, the same promise printed right there on the front, part of a complete breakfast. The milk hits the bowl, the cereal floats, and for a few minutes, everything feels normal, safe, the way mornings are supposed to be. But that box you're holding, it's not what you think it is. The cereal aisle is one of the most profitable sections in any grocery store. Hundreds of boxes competing for your attention. Bright colors, health claims, whole grain stamps, heart-healthy badges. Every package designed to make you believe you're making a smart choice for your family. Most of them are lying, not in ways that violate FDA regulations. The labels are technically legal, the ingredients are approved, the health claims meet minimum standards, but legal doesn't mean honest. And approved doesn't mean safe for daily consumption. Here's what most people don't know. The cereal industry operates on a business model that prioritizes shelf stability, production speed, and addictive taste profiles over actual nutrition. The result is a category of products that look like food, market themselves as health choices, and function more like slow-motion metabolic disruption. Start with the obvious target, the cereals marketed directly to children, the ones with cartoon characters, the ones parents buy thinking they're harmless because kids need to eat something. Kellogg's Fruit Loops, General Mills Trix, Post Fruity Pebbles. These aren't just sugary cereals. They're neurologically optimized delivery systems designed to create preference patterns that last into adulthood. The first ingredient in Fruit Loops isn't fruit, it's not even loops. It's sugar, followed by corn flour, followed by more sugar disguised as different names. One serving contains 12 grams of added sugar. That's 3 teaspoons. Before milk, before anything else your child eats that day. But here's what disturbs me more than the sugar content, the colors. Those bright reds, blues, yellows, and greens come from synthetic dyes. Red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, blue 1. These aren't pigments extracted from plants. They're petroleum-based chemicals originally developed for industrial textile manufacturing. In 2012, the FDA held hearings about synthetic food dyes after mounting evidence linked them to hyperactivity, attention problems, and behavioral disruption in children. European regulators took it seriously. The EU now requires warning labels on any food containing these dyes, stating they may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children. Kellogg's response? They reformulated Fruit Loops for the European market, removing synthetic dyes and replacing them with natural colors from plant extracts. But in the United States, where no warning labels are required, they kept the petroleum-based formula. Same brand, same product name, different ingredients depending on which country's children they're feeding. Pour some into a bowl right now. Notice how the milk changes color almost instantly. That's not natural. Those colors are engineered to leach quickly, coating everything they touch, including the lining of your child's digestive tract. The taste is intensely sweet, one-dimensional, and designed to trigger immediate dopamine response. There's no complexity, no natural fruit flavor, just chemical sweetness optimized for repeat consumption. Your child's brain learns to associate breakfast with this specific combination of sugar and synthetic stimulation. For families serving this daily, thinking it's just cereal, you're not feeding your kids. You're training their neurological reward systems to crave engineered food products. Teachers across the United States have reported noticeable differences in classroom behavior on mornings after students eat heavily dyed, high-sugar cereals. Difficulty focusing, impulsive behavior, energy crashes by mid-morning. These cereals also contain BHT, butylated hydroxytoluene, a preservative that keeps the product shelf-stable for months. BHT is also used in jet fuel, rubber, and petroleum products. Studies have linked it to organ toxicity and endocrine disruption. Kellogg's has the resources to reformulate. They already did it for Europe. They choose not to do it for American children because it would increase production costs and decrease profit margins. The calculation is simple. American regulations don't require change, so change costs money without providing competitive advantage. Your child's developing brain is worth less than their quarterly earnings report. Maybe you already know better than to buy Fruit Loops. You're one of those parents who reads labels, you choose organic, you look for whole grains, you pay extra for the boxes that feel healthier. Let's talk about Kashi. Kashi built its entire brand identity around wholesome, natural, plant-based nutrition. The name itself sounds vaguely Eastern, spiritual, connected to ancient wisdom. The packaging is earthy tones. The marketing emphasizes whole grains, fiber, and clean ingredients. In 2012, a class action lawsuit exposed the truth. Kashi products contain GMO soybeans, GMO corn, and synthetic ingredients despite marketing themselves as natural and nothing artificial. The company's defense was remarkable. They argued that natural has no legal definition under FDA regulations, so they could use it however they wanted. They admitted their ingredients were exactly what the plaintiffs claimed, but insisted their marketing wasn't false because the words they used were meaningless. Think about that. A brand built on natural and wholesome admitted in court that those words were deliberately chosen because they're legally meaningless. Kashi eventually reformulated and obtained organic certification for some products. But here's what that organic label doesn't tell you. It only addresses pesticide use and GMO status. It says nothing about sugar content, processing methods, or glycemic impact. Take Kashi, go original. It's USDA organic. It contains whole grain oats. It has 13 grams of sugar per serving. That's more than a glazed donut from Dunkin'. The first ingredient is whole grain oats. Good. The second ingredient is brown rice syrup. That's sugar. The third ingredient is cane sugar. The fifth ingredient is honey. 3 different forms of sugar in the top 5 ingredients. For diabetics, choosing Kashi thinking organic means blood sugar friendly. You're making the same mistake Kashi's lawyers admitted they wanted you to make. Organic sugar still spikes insulin. Organic brown rice syrup still has a glycemic index over 90, higher than table sugar. The fiber content is decent at 5 grams per serving, but that fiber doesn't offset 13 grams of sugar. Your blood glucose still spikes, your pancreas still floods your system with insulin, you still crash by mid-morning. Smell the cereal directly from the box. It doesn't smell like oats or grain. It smells sweet, almost candy-like. Real oats smell earthy, slightly nutty. This smells engineered. The organic label did exactly what Kashi's marketing team intended. It made you stop reading the ingredient list. It made you trust without verifying. It made you pay more for essentially the same metabolic impact as conventional sugary cereals. General Mills Cheerios, America's most trusted cereal, simple yellow box, the heart healthy claim approved by actual cardiologists. First ingredient, whole grain oats. Seems straightforward. Here's what the box doesn't tell you. Those whole grain oats have been pulverized into fine powder, extruded under high pressure and temperature, then puffed with steam. This industrial process destroys most of the nutritional structure that makes whole grains beneficial in the first place. When you eat intact whole grains, your digestive system works gradually to break down the kernel structure. Your blood sugar rises steadily, not dramatically. Your gut bacteria ferment the resistant starches and fiber, producing beneficial short-chain fatty acids. But when those same whole grains get ground into flour, extruded at high temperatures, and puffed into airy rings, the structure is gone. What remains is rapidly digestible starch with some fiber mixed in. The glycemic index of Cheerios is 74. That's considered high. White bread is 75. You're essentially eating toast without butter, except the toast is disguised as health food. General Mills knows this. Internal documents from the food industry show manufacturers understand perfectly well that processing method matters more than ingredient lists for glycemic response. But there's no regulation requiring them to disclose processing impact. The heart healthy claim on the box is technically accurate. Oats contain beta-glucan, a soluble fiber that can lower cholesterol in clinical studies. But those studies used intact oatmeal, not extruded cereal. The processing reduces beta-glucan's effectiveness. For families serving Cheerios to kids every morning, you're not giving them the sustained energy whole grain should provide. You're giving them blood sugar spikes followed by crashes disguised as responsible parenting. And here's the sodium issue nobody talks about. Cheerios contains 190 milligrams of sodium per serving. That's breakfast cereal, not soup. Why does puffed oats need that much salt? Because without it, the processed grain tastes like cardboard. For seniors monitoring sodium intake due to blood pressure concerns, these seemingly innocent breakfast choices add up. 4 servings throughout the week equals over 750 milligrams of sodium just from cereal. The Heart Healthy badge on the box creates a health halo effect. It makes you stop questioning. Meanwhile, the sodium content and glycemic impact work against the very outcomes that badge promises. Granola occupies a special place in the breakfast landscape. It feels artisanal, homemade, natural, like something a health-conscious person makes in their kitchen, not something engineered in a factory. Quaker Natural granola, oats, and honey, the word natural right there in the product name. Whole grain oats visible in every cluster. Real honey instead of corn syrup. This looks like the smart choice. 1 serving contains 29 grams of carbohydrates and 13 grams of sugar. But here's where it gets tricky. The serving size is 3/4 of a cup. Measure that out. It's barely enough to cover the bottom of a standard cereal bowl. Most people pour closer to 1.5 cups, doubling the serving size without realizing it. That means 58 grams of carbohydrates and 26 grams of sugar. That's more sugar than a can of Coca-Cola. The clusters that make granola appealing are held together with brown sugar, honey, and canola oil. Those crispy, crunchy pieces you love, they're essentially cookies masquerading as breakfast. But at least it's natural, right? The label says so. Except natural still means nothing legally. Quaker uses that word because market research shows consumers will pay more for it and assume it means healthier. The FDA has never defined the term for food labeling purposes. The oats themselves are fine, but they're swimming in sweeteners and oils engineered to make you eat more. One bowl rarely feels satisfying because the sugar content triggers the same reward pathways as dessert, not the sustained satiation of actual whole grains. For people choosing granola as a healthy alternative to sugary cereals, you've fallen for the exact psychological trick the food industry spent decades perfecting. Granola feels healthy because of texture and marketing, not because of nutrition. The irony is that making real granola at home takes 20 minutes and costs less per serving. Oats, nuts, a small amount of honey, and cinnamon. No canola oil, no brown sugar, no ambiguous natural flavors, just food. But homemade granola won't last 6 months on a shelf. It won't maximize profit per square inch of grocery store real estate. So companies like Quaker engineer products that look homemade while functioning like industrial goods. The newest trend in cereal marketing is protein fortification. Brands adding extra protein to appeal to fitness-conscious consumers, people managing weight, and anyone who absorbed the message that protein is important. Special K protein, Kashi Go Lean. These products promise to keep you full longer, support muscle maintenance, and provide better nutrition than traditional cereals. Special K protein contains 10 grams of protein per serving. Sounds impressive until you read how they achieved it. Soy protein isolate. That's not whole soybeans. It's an ultra-processed powder extracted using hexane, an industrial solvent also used in gasoline production. The protein is real, but the source and processing method matter. Soy protein isolate has been linked to digestive issues, bloating, and for some people, thyroid disruption. It's dramatically different from eating whole soy foods like edamame or tempeh. The cereal also contains 3 grams of sugar per serving and 230 milligrams of sodium. It's not a protein source. It's processed grain with protein powder mixed in, Kashigo lean, LIS, soy protein isolate, soy grits, and soy flakes in the ingredients. 3 different soy products in one cereal. For men concerned about phytoestrogens in soy, that's a significant daily dose. The protein content is 12 grams per serving, but the serving size is 1 cup. Most people eat closer to 2 cups. That's 24 grams of soy protein at breakfast every single day for years. Nobody knows the long-term effects of consuming that much concentrated soy protein isolate daily because the studies haven't been done. It's too new. We're the long-term study. For athletes choosing these products, thinking they're supporting muscle recovery, you're paying premium prices for inferior protein sources. Eggs, Greek yogurt, or actual meat provide more bioavailable protein with better nutrient profiles. Some of the worst offenders hide behind fortification claims. The cereals that promise to deliver essential vitamins and minerals, making parents feel responsible for choosing them. Flintstones, Fruity Pebbles, Lucky Charms. These aren't just sugar delivery systems. They're sugar delivery systems with added synthetic vitamins, marketed as nutritionally complete. 1 serving of Fruity Pebbles contains 11 grams of sugar and provides 25% of your daily iron needs, 25% of daily thiamine, and several other fortified nutrients. The marketing implies that these fortified vitamins somehow offset the sugar damage. They don't. Those vitamins are synthetic compounds added during manufacturing. They're chemicals sprayed onto the cereal or mixed into the dough before extrusion. Your body absorbs synthetic vitamins differently than nutrients from whole foods. Bioavailability is lower. The fortification serves one purpose: allowing manufacturers to make nutrition claims on the label. This creates the impression that the cereal contributes to nutritional needs, making parents feel better about serving sugar-coated puffs to their children. But here's the reality. A breakfast of Fruity Pebbles with synthetic vitamins is nutritionally inferior to plain oatmeal with a banana. The oatmeal provides natural B vitamins, minerals, and fiber in forms your body can actually use. The banana provides potassium and vitamin C. Total cost maybe 50 cents. Fruity Pebbles cost $4 to $5 per box. Delivers synthetic vitamins your body struggles to absorb and trains your child to crave artificially sweetened products. For families relying on fortified cereals to meet children's nutritional needs, you're substituting real nutrition with chemical supplements while simultaneously programming taste preferences for hyper-palatable processed foods. Here's what most people don't understand about the cereal industry. These aren't mistakes. These aren't accidents. These are deliberate choices made by people who understand food science, nutrition, and consumer psychology very well. The food scientists working for General Mills, Kellogg's, and Post aren't incompetent. They're brilliant. They know exactly how different processing methods affect glycemic response. They know how synthetic dyes affect children's behavior. They know how serving size manipulations make nutritional information misleading. They know all of this, and they engineer products accordingly. Why? Because their job isn't to maximize your health. Their job is to maximize repeat purchases. And the products that maximize repeat purchases are the ones that trigger the strongest reward responses in your brain with the lowest ingredient costs and the longest shelf life. Sugar is cheap, salt is cheap, Synthetic colors are cheap. Fortified vitamins are cheap. Corn and wheat are subsidized by the federal government, making them cheaper than ingredients that require more complex agriculture. Processing that destroys nutritional structure extends shelf life. Products that last 6 months without spoiling require less frequent production runs, reduce waste, and increase profit margins. The entire business model optimizes for profitability, not nutrition. Your health is not part of the equation, except as a marketing opportunity. This is why the same companies reformulate for European markets while keeping more harmful versions for American consumers. European regulations force change, American regulations don't. Reformulation costs money, so they do it only where legally required. The metabolic consequences of high sugar, low nutrient breakfast don't appear immediately. A child eating Fruit Loops every morning doesn't develop diabetes overnight. The insulin resistance builds gradually. The behavioral issues compound. The taste preferences solidify. By the time health problems emerge, the causal connection is nearly impossible to prove. Was it the cereal, the lack of exercise, genetics, all of the above? The diffuse causation protects manufacturers from liability. This is the system. And within this system, the cereal aisle functions exactly as designed. Not every box is engineered manipulation. Some companies actually make products that resemble food. Nature's Path, organic heritage flakes, 4 ingredients, organic whole grain blend, organic evaporated cane juice, sea salt, organic tocopherols. That's grain, minimal sugar, salt, and vitamin E from natural sources. Sugar content, 5 grams per serving. That's 60% less than most mainstream cereals. The grains are kamut, oats, spelt, barley, and quinoa. Actual ancient grains, not marketing terms. The company is independently owned, certified organic, non-GMO verified, and publishes third-party testing results. When they say organic, you can verify it. It costs more, about $6 to $7 per box, but you're paying for ingredients, not marketing. The boxes don't have cartoon characters or health claims, just ingredient lists you can read without a chemistry degree. Ezekiel 4-9, original sprouted grain cereal, found in the freezer section, which immediately tells you something important. It's perishable. Real food spoils. 6 sprouted grains, wheat, barley, millet, lentils, soybeans, and spelt. No flour, no sugar, no added salt. The sprouting process increases nutrient availability and reduces compounds that inhibit mineral absorption. 0 sugar. The slight sweetness comes from sprouting, breaking down starches naturally. This is what grain tastes like when you don't drown it in sweeteners. It's dense, substantial. You need to chew it. That's good. Food that requires effort to chew triggers satiety signals better than food that dissolves instantly. For diabetics needing genuinely low glycemic options, sprouted grain cereal has the lowest impact of any cereal category. For seniors wanting nutrition without insulin chaos, this is the closest thing to real food you'll find in cereal form. Your kitchen right now. Go check your pantry, pull out every cereal box, read the ingredient lists. If sugar appears in the first 3 ingredients, you're not eating breakfast. You're eating dessert marketed as nutrition. If the ingredient list contains words you can't pronounce, you're consuming chemicals designed to extend shelf life and reduce production costs, not nourish your body. If the front of the box makes health claims the back can't support, you're being manipulated by people who understand psychology better than you understand nutrition. This isn't about perfection. It's about clarity. Once you see how the system works, you can't unsee it. The cartoon characters become predatory marketing, targeting children's developing brains. The whole grain stamps become legal minimum thresholds, disguising massive processing. The organic labels become expensive misdirection from sugar content. The good news, you now know, knowledge changes the power dynamic. You're no longer trusting blindly, you're verifying, reading ingredients, measuring serving sizes, questioning health claims. Cereal isn't inherently bad. Grain is food. But what the industry has done to grain in pursuit of profit has created a category of products that look like food, taste like food, and market themselves as healthy while functioning as metabolic disruption disguised as breakfast. The boxes will still smile at you from the shelves. The mascots will still promise fun. The labels will still claim nutrition. But you'll know what's behind the marketing. What you eat for breakfast sets the pattern for your entire day. Energy, focus, hunger, mood, all of it starts with what you pour into that bowl. Choose accordingly.